Okay, so this is the last video now, I promise. We're going to take our object from here over to a drawing. But before we do that, I just wanted to show you how you would export this lovely piece of work we've done to be 3D printed, which is entirely possible in school if you produce something nice and you want to take it home. We couldn't do the whole year group, but if we've got one or two that need to be printed, we could probably have a look at it. So all you're going to do is what I've just done over there whilst talking was I left clicked on the top one, and then I pressed shift and clicked on the bottom one, so I selected the whole of my bridge. I'm going to right click and I need to export those items from the parts menu. Okay, so it's going to export it as one part even though it's many parts. I would name it at the top something like with my initials or something so people know it's mine. We want to keep the STL format. That's what is going to be used as the file type that our printer or our printer driver can read and convert into its own language so that it can print it for you. And then we probably want to change our item to centimeters rather than millimeters, and that should give us a good idea about what size it should come out at. All right. Then you'd click export. And whatever is downloaded, you would supply to your teacher either by email or by USB. Okay, so I'm not going to click export now, but let's move on with the tutorial. But you know how to do it now. So if you ever need to get an item out that you want to print, that's how you're going to do it. All right. So moving on to how do we get a drawing, like a two-dimensional professional draftsman's drawing out of program, because we've got this lovely 3D object and we could literally make changes and it will change it on this drawing as well. So if we wanted to have a version with wider handles or more of these uprights or a different type of plinth, then we could do that and we could export it again and again and again and make these drawings. So what we're going to need to do to make this drawing, the easiest thing to do is to make it as an assembly. So to assembly now to do that. So I'm going to go over to assembly and I'm going to go insert, and I'm going to insert the whole of Part Studio at the same time because I've built it all inside there. So I'm going to click it to place it down, and I'm going to click yes, thank you very much. And that's placed my object ready to go. Now that was important because that will enable me to now click over here and right click and go and create the drawing from Assembly 1, whereas I can't do that in my Part Studio. So I can create my drawing. This is a simple menu. Where and you could use the default and just click 4 views if you wanted to and have it just generate something, or you could do any of the other items inside there and start playing around with it. I'm going to go for no views just so I can show you how to add views for yourself. Now it's popped me across and it's put it on first angle projection, and I have got the bridge here ready to draw. Now my scale is 1.8. Now if you do the automatic one, it will, that's going to be way too big. If you do the automatic drawing, it will automatically give you a scale that will fit on the page for all of the items with space around it, but you might find it a bit small. So you've got to play around with this to see if you get the one you want. So here I've got my side view, so I'm going to go 1, and then once I've done that, if I drag sideways, it should draw my other views for me. So I'm going back up to the top one, and I'm going to go to the side here, and it's going to give me my other view, and then a 3D view. All right, so it gives me my views really quickly and easily and lays out a drawing for me. It doesn't stop there. We can start putting dimensions onto this really simply. So we can do widths and heights, and we can get any of the dimensions that we need into our drawing. It's really quite easy to produce one of these professional sketched up drawings. I can even go back to Assembly 1 and I could find a random view, maybe like this, and I can zoom in and I can use this view. Now I need to go to named views to do this, and I can name this view, let's just call it V1. It's for the sake of time, and let's add that in, and then maybe go to the front and move over here. I don't know if this will work, but let's give it a go. V2. You'll get the general idea in a second. So now I've got 2 different views down. Oh, I've got one called lower stand as well, which I made earlier. So I've got a few different views that I can use. Okay, and I can even use those in my drawing. So if I go back to my drawing over here, I've got my insert options up here, and I can insert a view. So I can insert, and then from insert, instead of going top, I can do V1, exploded position default, show all. Let's leave it at 1.4. You can see what it's going to do. It's going to, let's go none. See what happens here. View simplification, ratio to studio. We'll just try some stuff out. Now I'm going to leave it as it is. Then that's not doing anything. So you can see, although it's giving me the full view, and actually I didn't want the full view. I wanted part of it, but I'm sure we could work out how to isolate that part of the view if we wanted to. So we can add other views of our own in there, and edit and play around with things. So loads of options to play around with to do a 2D drawing, and that is the end of the process for you. So if you manage to produce a 2D drawing, get that into your work for the day. If you don't, and you finish with your rendered drawings, take lots of screenshots about your work and add that into your work. And if your work is really good, your teacher might be able to print it for you, but no promises there, because it costs quite a lot to do the printing part of that process, but we can see how it goes. All right, lovely. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for listening. I hope it's been informative and helpful for you. Goodbye.